All right. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Entrepreneurs Monday Night Live. We're going to be chatting about self-image here tonight and how you really can't outperform your self-image. Very important to understand that it's impossible to outperform your self-image. What we can do is understand what it is, how it got there, how to build it. We got Leslie in the house. What's happening? Good to see you. As always, guys, when we're talking about, paradigms and self-image and the content that we're teaching that's been taught to me by Bob Proctor and many other mentors, I always want to relate that whatever your current circumstances are, your physical fitness, your income, your relationships, if you haven't studied in this material, if you don't understand what the mind map is and how the conscious and the subconscious and the body come together to create, that means it's not your fault if you're not getting the results that you want. I don't mean to let anybody off the hook, like it's not your fault, just walk around and be lazy. That's not what I'm saying, but you can't blame an ignorant person for their results. And I was ignorant for about 41 years. There's no shame in that. It's just ignorance just means not knowing. That's not a bad term. So some of you might be in an ignorant state about income and about relationships and physical fitness. I like to tell people that I'm still largely ignorant about a lot of things, right? Except for things that I study and put into action. So wealth building is not one of them. We are very highly studied in wealth building, very highly studied in the mind. And also have a mechanical engineering background, construction, architecture, so very mechanically aware and educated. But there's a ton of things, obviously, most things in the universe that I'm not highly educated in. So it's not your fault if you're not getting the results you want. But if you want to change that, we can do that here together in the Entrepreneurs Group. So I see got my dear old mom watching. What's happening, Mom? Good to see you. Well, let's dig into it, guys. If you're ready to learn about self-image, go ahead and type "I'm ready" in the chat. Throw some fire in the chat. We're going to hopefully give you guys some tools here tonight to think of and to work on your self-image. And I think some of the pain points that come from not understanding self-image are really a lack of self-confidence. And that's kind of an overarching term, right? Self-confidence, but a lack of self-confidence can be paralyzing. It can stop you from meeting people. It can stop you from getting promotions at work. It can stop you from going to the gym. It can stop you from a lot of things. Things like being afraid to speak, right? There's so many people that their image is so distorted of who and what they are that they're afraid to speak out or speak up, or public speaking, God forbid, right? So think about how these limiting beliefs and this self-image might be paralyzing you. A lot of people are being extras in their own movie. Bob uses that term a lot, being an extra in your own movie. So think about that. Do you feel like an extra in your own movie? And what that means is, are you going through your day-to-day life and seeing other people succeed at a high level, maybe on TV, maybe at work, maybe if you're a realtor in your company, or if you're in network marketing, do you see other people succeeding at a high level, but then you don't believe that you can do that? Right? Hey, Lauren, what's up, brother? So think about that. If you have any of this stuff, we're going to work on that here tonight. And again, comment "I'm ready" in the chat if you guys are ready to make some progress here. So one of the things that sparked this live here tonight is one of our dear friends and coworkers, Angie Lightnaker, put a chat in last week, and it said something like, on a scale of 1 to 10 with your self-image, from having no self-image to baller, where are you guys at? And some of you guys, 6, 7, 8, but there's quite a few, 0 to 4s in there, or a 3, or there's a -2 in there. I was like, holy cow, like this is something we can work on, we can chat about. So I want to publicly thank Angie for putting that comment in the group, because self-image is something we should all understand and all obviously work on too, because it leads to a really healthy quality of life. So and I'm going to talk a little bit about self-image versus paradigm, right? Your paradigm, if you've been with us for a while, your paradigm is the set of mental programs stored in your subconscious mind that are controlling all of your results, controlling all of your habits that lead to results. But self-image is a part of paradigm, almost like a subset of programs, if you will. So it's kind of a unique set of programs that's part of your paradigm, but it interacts a little differently. It controls a lot of different things, So think of your paradigm as maybe mechanical, and your self-image is a little bit more spiritual or emotional, if that makes sense. But it's important to understand what a paradigm is at a very high level. when you were born a blank slate, right? A brand new baby has no programs. We can't walk, we can't speak, we can barely eat, and only if people do it for us, right? So we have very, very limited programs. And understanding this is really the keys to the kingdom, because you do not choose really any of the programs that are controlling you right now, for the most part, not unless you're very well studied in this material, or if you happen to grow up with parents that are very, very aware. Very rarely is that the case, guys. That's almost never the case, that we are born into a situation where our parents understand this, and the school systems definitely don't understand this. I've been through, regular grade school, high school, and on to multiple colleges, and they definitely don't understand anything about this. Otherwise, we'd be teaching self-image in school at the grade school level. Even in kindergarten, they would do things, right, for self-image. And there's no fault there, there's no blame. It's just, again, that's societal ignorance. It's not your parents' fault either. That's generational ignorance, right? So we're all kind of rowing the same boat here. The question is, do we want to do something about it together? And again, guys, if along the way you have any questions, just throw them right in the chat. I'd be happy to answer. Tonight, I want to be a little bit more interactive. So it's important to understand the difference between paradigm and self-image. And the other thing is, you can never outperform your self-image. You may temporarily outperform it. You may have some success at a marginal level, and but eventually what will happen between the paradigm and the self-image is you'll go back. And some of you may have done this. You may have broken out, you may have lost some weight, and then you found it again. Bob talks about this in lesson 6 of Thinking and Results, which is really where we help people alter their paradigms. It talks about somebody that loses 10 pounds and then gains 15, loses 20 and then gains 25. If that's ever happened to you, again, it's not your fault. You're physically trying to change something instead of altering the self-image and the paradigm that are actually controlling it. So if you've ever been on a yo-yo diet, or you're having yo-yo results, this is why. It's the same thing in business. This used to happen to me. God, it used to frustrate me in business. I would earn money, I would get ahead, and then boom, something would happen. It would take me back a couple notches. Then I would get more ahead, and then boom, take me back a couple notches. So that happened for, a good decade anyway. I really became an entrepreneur when I was like 28, when General Electric closed, and I started working some multiple businesses on my own and starting my own companies and stuff. And all through my my 30s and into my early 40s, I would have a succeed and fail, married, divorce, right? That's what this is. And it comes from not knowing, came from a state of ignorance that I now am aware of and have been educated on. So guys, you can never outperform this self-image, and the image you hold on the inside is the, how do I want to say this? You have two images, right? You have the one that you know on the inside, and then we have the one that we're projecting to the world. And most people, it's like this, it's way off. What we teach you to do in Thinking and Results is we teach you to build a strong image. Let's say you want to be a multimillionaire. Well, you need to have the image of a millionaire before you would ever physically achieve that, So we need to build that on the inside and then align it up on the outside. And that's what we work with, right? So the image you hold on the inside must eventually reflect on the outside. I want you to think about this. The image that you have on the inside must, by law, eventually produce on the outside. And if it's an image that's not serving you, then you're going to have not too fun of a ride. But if you understand how to create an image that will serve you, and you notice I'm not saying good or bad, I'm just saying, does your image serve you or not? If you're running around scared of your own shadow or afraid to interact with people because what they think of you, it's not going to be a high quality of life. We're human beings, right? We're not human doing. We're human beings. So we need to be, and we need to be with each other and interact with each other. And I had some limiting awareness around this when I was growing up, especially in high school. I was a late bloomer, right? So I didn't understand any of this. None of this stuff was taught in school. And because of that, I was a little bit of a late bloomer. But if that's ever happened to you guys, same thing, So it's important to understand we want to create the new image, and then how do we get them to be the same on the inside and the outside? So we have this inner image that and then we have the one that we project. Now, if you're in a relationship, there's actually 6 images. There's the one that on the inside, there's the one that you're projecting, then there's the one that your spouse or your significant other has of you as well. Think about that. This is why this is why I have a few divorces under my belt too, not knowing this stuff, right? We assume people understand what we're saying. We assume people understand what we mean. That's not the case at all. So many communication gaps between couples and people in general, employees, employers, things of that nature. And this is really why. All right. So this is the reason why I say it's law. If you learn to change your image on the inside, I keep saying that it's law that the outside has to change. Let me explain that a little bit. You know, there's a lot of universal laws that we're working with, and we talk about them here in the Entrepreneurs Group, at least at a surface level. And there's a law of cause and effect. And these are not subject to, I don't want to say this. When I say universal laws, it's like saying the universal law of gravity. You know, nobody here can explain gravity, but it's an invisible universal law that's imposing effects on us. Magnetism is another one. Electricity, these are universal laws. Well, there's a universal law of cause and effect. So when you're working on your image on a daily basis on the inside, that's a cause. The effect is going to reflect on the outside over time, right? There's also the universal law of vibration, and vibration causes attraction. So again, if you're getting yo-yo your results with your weight, with your relationships, with your income, your image is a big part of that. This is a large part of what the reason is here. So if this is you guys, again, we can help you with that. So creating this new image raises your vibration. Well, vibration causes attraction. And again, that's not my opinion. This is the same way an acorn grows into an oak tree, except the acorn doesn't have consciousness, right? It can't choose its environment. You guys can. We are conscious, right? We are at a higher level of awareness. We can absolutely alter and choose our environment. And the first part of our environment is our mindset, our mentality, right? Our self-image, our paradigms. It's the very first part of your environment. You are a spirit living in a body. You're expressing through the body. But so the first environment you have is your mindset. The second environment is your body, right? So think about that. You're not your body. You're expressing through your body. You're a spirit having a physical existence or a physical experience. It's so funny when people say to me, oh, I had this spiritual experience. And they're just advertising their ignorance, which again is not a bad term. It just means not knowing. But we don't have these spiritual experiences. We are a spirit and we're having a physical experience. All right, guys. So getting back to the universal laws, transmutation of energy is another one. If you have a poor self-image, you're going to be in a low vibration. That energy has to transmute to and through you, right, and express into something. If you have a low self-image, more often than not, that energy is going to manifest into a physically depressed body, as opposed to somebody who's leading a company or leading a team or transmuting that energy into creation. I shouldn't say that, transmuting that energy into something that benefits you or is in harmony with what you want. We're always in a creative state. It's just that most people are creating what they don't want. Does that make sense, guys? Put some fire in the chat if this is making sense. I want to make sure you guys are with me here and I'm not going over your heads. These universal laws, again, they're not something that you can alter. They're not man-made laws, so man cannot change them, but we can help you get in harmony with them so that you get in flow, you have no stress, no anxiety, ease, calm, effortless, right? That's what we're looking for here. There's another universal law called the law of gestation, that your self-image is working either with or against. If you have a poor self-image, again, it's going to take longer, if ever, to create what you actually want. You're mostly going to be creating what you don't want. Does that make sense, guys? I see a lot of fire in the chat, so that's looking good. Love it, love it, love it. What's up, Angie? Our very own Angie Lightmaker. Good to see you. Michelle. Awesome. So good. I'm glad this is making sense. And another one of the universal laws, guys, is the law of relativity. If you have a poor self-image, how you relate to other people, how you relate to things is going to not serve you compared to somebody like a Richard Branson, who has an amazing self-image, right? He's had an amazing self-image since he was probably born, or in his early years before teenage. He had a really good image of who he was and what he was about and what he was doing. And you can see the reflection of his life is health, wealth, love, happiness, spirituality. Obviously, he's a multi-billionaire philanthropist, right? So I want you to think about how important your self-image is. And again, self-image is a part of your paradigm, right? So then the big question is, how do we build a better self-image, or how do we build a self-image that's going to serve us? And we're going to give you some stuff here tonight, guys, but quite honestly, it's not a 30-minute or a 15-minute fix. If you want to dig a little deeper, jump on a call with one of our success advisors. Type discovery call right in the chat right now. Type discovery call, and one of our team that's been trained will reach out to you guys, and you can have a little free strategy session on us. Again, maybe you don't want to put it here in the chat is the other thing. If you want to chat with one of our success advisors, just put discovery call in the chat, and they'll dig a little deeper with this stuff. But I'm going to give you some stuff here as well. We're not going to leave you hanging. So first thing, guys, here are some questions to check on where your image is, right? Oh, we had a question there. Is self-deprecation ever useful, or should it be avoided at all costs? That is a great question. Self-deprecation should be avoided at all costs. It's so funny you mentioned that, Lauren. I'm actually going to chat about this a little bit. Because like you said, here are some questions to check where your image is. But self-deprecation is never, ever, ever a beneficial thing. It's a transmutation of energy. Even if you're kidding around, like, oh, I'm such a dumbass, right? Even that little thing is negative energy going from your conscious out into your subconscious and reinforcing that you may, in fact, be a dumbass, right? So number one is, do you criticize yourself? Now, I don't mean this. Sometimes we do this kind of jokingly, but even jokingly, we don't want to do that, right? So do you criticize yourself? Now, some people really do criticize themselves. If you do that, it's an indicator that you have a poor self-image, or that your self-image needs some work. We had another question in the chat. How does imagination help change self-image? Really good question. So imagination is the key to changing your self-image. It's the absolute key. You have to learn how to build the image, and then you have to use your imagination to imagine for a long enough period of time so that your subconscious buys off on the new idea. We're going to get a little bit more into that, but it's a great question. Imagination is the key, the absolute key to changing your self-image. Paradigms, we can change a lot of other paradigms, we can change a lot of other ways, but self-image, that piece of your paradigm, we can really only use the imagination to start the change of that. So great question. The other thing is, do you criticize others? If you find yourself criticizing others, it's a telltale sign that you have a poor self-image. And don't beat yourself up. If you criticize other people, it's not your fault. More than likely, it's not your fault. It's a reflection of your environment or a whole bunch of other things. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just something you want to change. Do you belittle people? Do you gossip about people? If you're catching yourself doing this stuff, it's a telltale sign that you need to work on your self-image, and you're probably not getting the results that you want. Here's an important one. Do you care what other people think about you? Do you care about what other people think about you? If you do at a high level, if you really care a lot about, oh my God, what's my family going to think? What's my spouse going to think? What are my coworkers going to think? It's a telltale sign that you need to work on your self-image. And I don't mean this in an ignorant way. I just mean, if you're a good person, you should know that you know that you know you're a good person, and it shouldn't matter what anybody else thinks, right? I often tell people here, I don't really care what you think. I hope you like me, but that's your problem if you don't like me. I know I'm a nice guy. I know where my heart is. I know that I've committed my life to helping people. I know that I'm philanthropic, right? People get so many ideas of who and what you are, especially from social media, maybe from somebody else, who knows, maybe from the past, right? The person I was in the past is not the person I am today, right? So I know all this stuff about me, and I have an amazing self-image, but I don't need other people to like me. I hope you like me, like Bob says, I love me, so I know I'm a good guy. But you need to you need to get to that place with yourselves too. You need to know that you're an amazing person, right? You need to know that you have good intentions. And when you hold on to that, it has to reflect on the outside. So do you care what other people think about you? It's a telltale sign, if you care at a very high level, that we probably need to work on this. Do you have insecurities? Obviously, that's a huge telltale sign. Physical, mental? Are you afraid to speak out? Are you afraid what people think about you speaking? Are you afraid if you stutter or forget your lines? None of that matters. I make mistakes. They're not even mistakes. It's just human, right? When we're speaking or different things. So, do you have insecurities about anything is probably a telltale sign that you need to work on your self-image. And the last one, guys, is do you have limiting beliefs about what you think you can achieve, not what's achievable, right? Two different things. A lot of people think, oh, well, that's achievable, but do you think you can achieve something? And if you have limiting beliefs about that, we absolutely, you should jump on a call with one of our success advisors. Again, type in discovery call in the chat and one of our team will reach out to you guys. We can dig a little deeper. And that's why we call it a discovery call. We want to discover more about you, get to know you guys. You're in the family here, you're in the group, and we can see if it can help you guys, right? Because again, your self-image your subconscious mind is a cybernetic mechanism. Self-image is a piece of that. So what does that mean? When we say cybernetic mechanism, I want you to think about a thermostat, right? A thermostat, if you set it to 70 degrees, if somebody opens the windows or the door and it's cold out, it's going to cause the thermometer or the thermostat to go down, which will trigger and send an electronic signal through a thin wire to the boiler, to the furnace, and it'll fire up, right? Mechanical, and it'll start adding heat until the thermostat says that the temperature is back to 70. That's a cybernetic mechanism. Well, human beings, we are cybernetic mechanisms, right? Electromechanical. We have electro in the spiritual and mechanical in the physical. But your self-image is very much a cybernetic mechanism. It tries to keep you exactly where you are. Now, you were not in control of building your self-image in the early days, not for the most part. Some people are what we call unconscious competence, and they just naturally sort of have a strong self-image. And I don't know why. Bob doesn't know why either. Maybe it's partly hereditary, genetic. But for those that don't, most of the people that don't, we can literally build a new self-image, and that's what we help you do in Thinking Results. It's actually less than 2 weeks on self-image, right? So I want you to think about a cybernetic mechanism. And like I said, most people are really like extras in their own movie. So picture a movie, and I like the movie The Matrix, right? Keanu Reeves was the main character, Trinity was the main character, Morpheus, but then there was a whole bunch of extras in that movie, and all 4 movies, right? So think about that. Are you an extra in your own movie? If you feel like that, if you're just going to work and you're like, well, I guess this is as good as they can get, or maybe you're in a network marketing company and you're just kind of blending in the background. You're not leading meetings, leading presentations, climbing the charts, ranking up. That's probably a self-image issue. All right. And the law of cause and effect decrees that you have to give before you can receive. I want you to think about that. The law of cause and effect that we talk about, it's a universal law. It says that you have to give before you receive. So when you're building this self-image, think about how much love are you giving. If you want to be loved, you have to give love. Now, love is actually a frequency, but what most people relate to as love is the feeling they get around other people, which is vibration. But if you want to have more love in your life, you want to be on that frequency, how much love are you giving? Do you have the image of being someone that's very loving, right? That would be a self-image adjustment. How much service are you providing, right? Do you see yourself as a salesperson? If you're in sales, and every single one of you is, by the way, that's a trick question. Do you see yourselves as like a world-class salesperson? Do you see salespeople as slimy and skeevy? Do you relate to a salesperson? A lot of people say, I'm not in sales. Like they're embarrassed to be a salesperson. Guys, sales is something that you do for somebody, not to them, right? Sales is the highest form, or the highest thing some human can do for another human being. If we're selling something we don't believe in, well, that's disingenuous, and that's a whole nother thing, and there'll be a whole nother cause and effect to that person. But what we're doing here, delivering this content to you guys, I know that I'm doing such an amazing service for another human being. A brain surgeon would repair the mechanics of your brain, the physical brain. What we're doing is at the spiritual, it's at the soul level. It's higher than what a brain surgeon would do. And I don't say that because we're doing it. It's not my information, right? I learned from one of the best in the world. And if a brain surgeon studies for 12 years or 14 years or 16 years, Bob's been studying for 62 years, right? He's got a 62-year degree in understanding the mind-body connection. And he's been teaching me for about 10 years. So I have about a 10-year degree in this stuff, right? So think about that. How much service are you given? Do you see yourself as a salesperson? Do you have that image? How much energy, right? How much energy do you release on a daily basis? Do you have the image of a high energy person? Most people are dragging around and like, oh, I'm so tired. And they're not even working hard, really. It's just, they have the image of being tired all the time. You know, it's like, I ran the kids around all day and I ran errands all day. It's like, think about back in the days when human beings really had to work hard, you know? Think about in the whatever 20s when people are on the railroads and stuff, like really working hard, 14, 16-hour days, you know, laying rails and spikes and digging ditches and things of that nature. So a lot of times we're just saying, I'm so tired. We're not really thinking about it. So do you have the image of a high energy person? Something to think about. Are you leading yourself on a daily basis? Think about that. Are you leading yourself on a daily basis? Do you have the image of a leader? If you don't, that's a self-image issue. And, you know, good luck trying to create a lot of wealth at a high level if you're not, number one, leading yourself, but number two, leading other people. Almost everybody I know that's succeeding at a high level, they're leading in some way, shape, or form. They're leading teams, even, you know, the people that I know that are crushing real estate, they're leading property management teams and a team of realtors, right? They're leading. So do you have the image of a leader? If not, you should type discovery call in the chat and one of our team reach out to you and help you out with this stuff. All right, guys, so think about that. And the last thing I'll say is how much money you're giving, or how much, you know, what are you doing in the order of philanthropy? Do you have the image of a philanthropist? Right, we give away a lot of money in a lot of different ways, even little things from tipping, like tipping the bill all the time, to outright charity, giving time. I mean, this is a free broadcast we're doing right here. This is philanthropic. I'm not getting paid to do this. We just have the group for you guys so that we can give back. So that would be sort of a philanthropic thing. How much are you doing in that order? Do you have the image of somebody doing that? All right, guys. So that's the chat here tonight. We had a couple of questions. I think we answered them. I want to see myself as a top leader. So Toth, I see that. If you want to see yourself as a top leader, you know, what are you doing to build that image? Who are some people in this world that you know that are operating at a high level that you'd want to mirror their behavior? And when you have those people, you can start to do that. And that's how this starts, right? We teach something in Thinking and Results called a self-image board, right? It's literally images of the people that you want to bring in their qualities. It's not that you want to be these people, it's that you want to bring in qualities of these people. All right, guys. So hopefully you got a ton of value tonight. If you're finally ready to make some change with your self-image, to you know, think and act and operate like the 1%, again, type in discovery call in the chat. One of our team will reach out to you. They'll take good care of you. I've trained them all myself. They're amazing people. And actually all of them started off looking for answers themselves and were clients in the beginning. So we just have an amazing team. They'll take really good care of you guys. Until next Monday, be well. God bless. If you guys have any questions throughout the week, type them in the chats and in the group. My team will harvest those throughout the week. And that's how this came out here. Like I said, Angie put in a comment or a nice little story in the entrepreneurs group, and you guys answered to it. So we'd love to tailor the content to what you guys need, and feel free to comment and ask questions all week long, and we can tailor these towards what you guys need. All right, guys. So until next Monday, be well. God bless. We'll see you soon.